Most people know the Elder Scrolls because of Skyrim. They know the dragons, the mountains. Maybe they've shouted a guard off a cliff once or twice. But Skyrim is just one corner of a much larger world. A world that's been growing for more than 30 years. It's a place where history stretches back millennia, where ancient empires have risen and fallen, where entire races have disappeared without anyone agreeing on exactly what happened to them, and where the gods aren't distant figures, they have names, personalities, rivalries, and occasionally a habit of making everyone else's problems much worse. The more time you spend in this world, the more you realize something. Almost everything has a story. That ruined fort on the horizon, the strange book you found in a dungeon, the statue standing in the middle of nowhere. None of it was placed there by accident. Every location, every artifact, every culture is part of a much bigger picture. So before we talk about dragons, or Daedric princes, or why an entire civilization vanished overnight, it probably helps to understand the world they all belong to. This is the Elder Scrolls. Before we go any further, we need to know where all of this actually takes place. The world of the Elder Scrolls is called Nirn. It's a planet, much like our own. It has oceans, continents, changing seasons, and countless people living very different lives. Almost every Elder Scrolls story happens on just one of those continents, Tamriel. If you've played Skyrim, then you've already been to Tamriel. You just visited one small part of it. Skyrim is the frozen north, where snow-covered mountains dominate the landscape, and the people value strength, honor, and tradition. Travel south, and the world begins to change. The great forests of Valenwood are home to the Wood Elves. The volcanic landscapes of Morrowind are unlike anywhere else, shaped by ancient eruptions and the towering remains of giant mushrooms. To the west lies Hammerfall, a land of deserts and warriors. In Black Marsh, dense swamps stretch for miles, inhabited by the mysterious Argonians, and on distant islands sits Somerset, the ancestral home of the High Elves. Each province has its own history, its own culture, its own rulers, its own heroes, and its own disasters. Some have spent centuries at war. Others have risen and fallen before entire civilizations elsewhere even existed. That's what makes Tamriel feel different from so many other fantasy worlds. It isn't built around a single kingdom or a single story. It's a living continent. Every ruin has a past. Every city has changed hands. Every border has been fought over. And no matter which game you play, you're never stepping into a brand new world. You're visiting another chapter in the history of the same one. Understanding that changes the way you see everything. Because once you realize Tamriel has thousands of years of recorded history, the question isn't just, where are we? It's who was here before us. A continent is only as interesting as the people who live there, and Tamriel has never belonged to just one. Humans are divided into several cultures, each with their own traditions, rulers, and history. Then there are the elves. Not one race, but many. The High Elves of Somerset, the Wood Elves of Valenwood, the Dark Elves of Morrowind. Each descended from a common ancestry, yet each taking a very different path through history. The Khajiit, native to elsewhere, are known for their feline appearance. The Argonians of Black Marsh are unlike any other people in Tamriel, with a mysterious connection to an ancient intelligence known as the Hist. And then there are the Orcs, who have spent much of their history fighting not only for survival, but for a place to truly call their own. Each race has its own language, beliefs, legends, and heroes, which means there is no single version of history. Ask a Nord about an ancient war, and you'll hear one story. Ask a Dark Elf, and you'll hear another. In the Elder Scrolls, history isn't always written by the victors. Sometimes it's rewritten by everyone. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the story of one civilization that simply disappeared. The Dwemer, a race of brilliant engineers and master craftsmen. One day, at the height of their power, every single Dwemer vanished. Not just from one city, not one kingdom, every one of them. Their cities remain, their machines still function, but the people themselves were never seen again. Even thousands of years later, nobody can say with certainty what happened. And that's one of the reasons people fall in love with this world. Not because it has all the answers, but because it doesn't. If you've played an Elder Scrolls game, you've probably noticed something. People are always talking about the gods. They pray to them, blame them, fight in their names. Some even claim to have met them. And unlike many fantasy worlds, that's not always an exaggeration. The gods of the Elder Scrolls aren't distant creators who disappeared once the world was made. Many are still very much a part of it. Some are worshipped as protectors. Others are feared as manipulators. Some have started wars. Others have ended them. Broadly speaking, there are two groups you'll hear about more than any others: the Aedra and the Daedra. The Aedra are the gods most people worship. Their influence can be seen almost everywhere, even if they rarely appear directly. The Daedra are different. They rule over their own realms beyond the mortal world, and many of them take a very active interest in mortal lives. Some offer power, some offer knowledge, some offer bargains you'll almost certainly regret. They're not simply good or evil. Each represents a different aspect of existence: knowledge, madness, ambition, destruction, domination. To some people, they're monsters. To others, they're teachers. It all depends on which story you're listening to. And that's one of the defining features of the Elder Scrolls. There are very few absolute truths. Only different people trying to explain the same universe from their own point of view. With all that in mind, there's one final question. Why is the series called The Elder Scrolls? They're ancient scrolls that seem to exist outside the normal flow of time. They've always existed. No one remembers them being created. No one knows who wrote them. Yet, somehow, they contain the past, the present, and countless possible futures. Those who have studied them describe impossible visions, events that haven't happened yet, events that never happen at all, and histories that seem to contradict one another. Reading an Elder Scroll isn't like opening a book. It's more like staring directly into reality itself. Very few people can survive the experience unchanged. In fact, those who dedicate their lives to studying the scrolls often lose their eyesight. Not because the pages are magical in the ordinary sense, but because some knowledge comes with a price. And perhaps that's the best way to understand this universe. The Elder Scrolls isn't a world with every answer neatly written down. It's a world of forgotten histories, conflicting legends, and mysteries that have survived for thousands of years. The deeper you explore, the more questions you find. And that's exactly why people are still uncovering its secrets, more than 30 years after the first game was released. If you enjoyed exploring the world of the Elder Scrolls, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really does help, and it lets me know you'd like to see more videos like this. because we've only just scratched the surface. In the next episode, we'll go back to the very beginning, before Skyrim, before Tamriel, before even the gods, to the story of how this universe came into existence, and the one being whose decision changed everything. I'll see you then.